Hey, what's up, guys? It's Diana Coulian, the Recipe Hacker, and I am coming to you live from the Fit Body Bootcamp headquarters here in Chino Hills, California, with a really exciting recipe that is going to support your fitness results and is just going to satisfy you. Guys, we're in week 1 of the New Year, New You challenge. If you're anything like me, then you are feeling kind of sore because you should have gotten at least 1 or 2 bootcamp sessions in already for the week. You might be feeling it. Like, I know that I'm feeling it. It's awesome, guys. We're starting strong, and we know that we have 7 more weeks ahead of us where we're going to be dialed in with our nutrition. We're going to be getting to bootcamp, drinking our water with our everyday fit, getting lots of sleep, and just overall changing our lives and really working on our health and fitness. So guys, we have a really cool thing that we're doing throughout the whole 8 weeks, and this is a giveaway. And I'm excited because I'm the one that gets to give the stuff away. So that's pretty cool. So guys, to be eligible throughout the week, as you're doing your workouts, you're doing your meal prep, you're living this healthy life, and you're just going full steam ahead on your challenge results, post in the page or post on Instagram with the hashtag #IamFitBody. And guys, that's such a powerful hashtag because it's saying you are Fit Body. Like, you're embodying everything that Fit Body stands for. You're just working towards that health and fitness goal and ultimately the infinite game of fitness so that you can just live a long, healthy, and happy life. So guys, post pictures, post how you're feeling, post about your results. Everybody in the page is here for support. We're here to encourage you and also to be pumped up and encouraged by you. So hashtag #IamFitBody. And we did it this week. And guys, I am pleased to announce that the winner for this week, and this I am not 100% sure how it's figured out. I think it's pretty random. So anyone who posts with the hashtag #IamFitBody has a chance to win. But this week it is Gina Roderick Jillian from Chesterton Fit Body Bootcamp in Indiana. So Gina, thank you so much for posting and for being a part of Fit Body Bootcamp and sharing your journey with us. You're bringing encouragement to other people on this page, and we really appreciate that. So what we are going to send to Gina is our Fit Body bundle of supplements. And I actually have it right here. So we have a protein. And guys, if you haven't tried our protein yet, I hope that you will during this challenge, because not only does our protein taste better than anything on the market, because all that we put in here is the cleanest, most pure ingredients. There are no fillers. There are no artificial sweeteners, which are really hard to get away from these days. And guys, it shows in the flavor. So you know you're getting the best nutrition. So Gina's getting a thing of protein, and we have 2 flavors of whey, and we are actually about to release our 2nd flavor of vegan. So we're gonna have 2 flavors of vegan. So we have chocolate and vanilla in both. And then as a part of the bundle, Gina, I love this stuff. This is our pre-workout. So this, you take a little bit of this before your workout. It gets you really ready to go, but it doesn't give you the jitters. It's got a perfect balance of the minerals and the vitamins that you need. And I'm like drooling because I am doing a little break from caffeine right now. So I would not mind taking this myself. But Gina, this is all yours. And then we have Everyday Fit. And guys, Everyday Fit is a vitamin enhanced super water. So guys, if you remember Crystal Light back in the day, where we would mix it in with our water just to make our water taste good, but it didn't add any calories, guys, this is that without the artificial sweeteners and with all of these cool nootropics and minerals and vitamins to really support your fitness journey. And it's pretty cool. It also suppresses appetite. So if you drink this throughout the day, you're doing 2 things to help your fat loss results. 1, you're staying hydrated. So we know when we're hydrated, we're gonna lose fat quicker. And then 2, you're kind of like putting a damper on your cravings for snacks and salty foods throughout the day or sweets. So it's pretty cool. So you're reducing your calories and you're increasing your hydration with Everyday Fit. And then the last thing that we are the 2nd to last thing we're sending you, Gina, is this multivitamin. And guys, you need a multivitamin, you need to have that nutritional base. So this is, again, the purest ingredients go into our multivitamin, unlike some of the ones that you find at the store, which also have fillers and just ingredients that aren't pure. So it's not doing what it needs to do in your body. So the final thing we're gonna send you, Gina, to round out our bundle is a really cool Fit Body Bootcamp Racer tank top. So I don't know about you, I love wearing the Fit Body Bootcamp tank tops when I work out. I'm sure you see a lot of people in your location doing the same. So congratulations, Gina. Thank you for sharing with us. And guys, next week it could be you. I would love to send you some really cool TrueLean supplements or Fit Body gear or just some fun things to help you with your fitness journey. Okay, on to this recipe. And guys, you know, we are in a challenge. And even if you're not doing our challenge, it's January. I'm sure you have some holiday weight that you're trying to lose. But the crazy thing is, guys, as we restrict our calories, and we take away bread and we take away different things from our diet that we, indulged in December, we get hit with cravings and cravings for like filling, satisfying food. So I took it upon myself to make us a recipe for lasagna. I know you're thinking like, okay, why are you tempting me? Like, why are we talking about lasagna when I obviously shouldn't be eating lasagna when I'm on a challenge? Guys, I took out everything bad from the lasagna, everything fattening, and we put in things to support your fitness results. So I actually named this lasagna Fit Body Lasagna. Guys, let's look at the ingredients. I have them lined up here. So we have a spaghetti squash. We've got 4 zucchini. We have an onion. We have 1.5 pounds of ground meat, and you can really use whatever ground meat you want. We have a full 16 ounces of egg whites. This is what we're using to be like cheese. And then we just have like some spices and a little bit of oil. So you can see there's no grains, there's no dairy. It's a very light dish. So we ran the numbers this morning, and you can see it's a fairly large pan, and I did 6 servings because my whole idea behind this lasagna is that you can eat a lot of it. Because guys, I know these workouts are making you hungry. And so we did it as 6 servings, but you can see 6 servings would be basically 2 pieces like this would be 1 serving. So you can even reduce down the calories and everything more by having more than 6 servings come out of this pan. So it's under 400 calories for a serving. There are 44 grams of protein, and there's only 13 carbs. So Jesse's gonna post the link to the recipe below so you can land on the page, you can look through all of the ingredients and see the instructions on what I'm gonna show you right now, and you can look at that nutrition as well. But it's pretty amazing to have a big piece of lasagna at 13 carbs. So I'm excited about this, guys. So I'm gonna start right in on the sauce. I already have my skillet warm. So we are going to add a little bit of olive oil here to the pan. And I'm gonna start out by putting, so this 1 onion, I peeled and chopped it up nice and fine. And we are gonna start by sauteing the onion. Guys, I hope you're excited about this recipe because it is pretty cool to be able to eat lasagna and still lose weight and to get leaner and to feel great. So, okay, so we are gonna let our onions get going here. And I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of minced up fresh garlic. You can add more than that or less than that, depending on your taste, but I like a good amount of garlic because it definitely adds really good flavor. I'm gonna heat this up a little bit here. Okay, so while this starts to cook, I wanna talk to you about noodles because as you can see, taking the noodles out of the recipe as well as taking out the cheese is what really reduced the calories and reduced those carbs and reduced the fat. So to replace noodles, what we're gonna do is we're gonna work with spaghetti squash and zucchini. So we're gonna do it in 2 ways. The first thing that you're gonna do with your noodles, you're gonna take the spaghetti squash and you're gonna slice it into rings. So I have this piece here. So when you slice it, it's gonna look like this, and there's gonna be some gunk in the middle with the seeds and like the little strings. So you're gonna clear those out, and then I like to then cut it into half moons just because it's easier to fit it on the pan. So you're gonna place it on a cookie sheet with some parchment paper, so we don't wanna mess with it like sticking. And then I like to spray a little bit of olive oil on it, and then to just put salt and pepper. It's really important to do the salt and pepper, and I like to do this on both sides of the spaghetti squash just to really get the flavor in there. So I'm gonna flip them over because I want it on both sides. And guys, if you're being super careful with oils, you don't necessarily have to put the oil on there. I mean, it's on parchment paper, it's not gonna stick. So totally up to you. The oil is gonna add some flavor and some fat to the recipe. So again, if you really wanna limit the fat, you don't need to put the oil, or you can just do less, or just rub a little bit of coconut oil on there. Okay, so we salt and peppered both sides. You would have a whole tray full because you would do one whole spaghetti squash, and you're gonna stick it in the oven, 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. So when you take it out of the oven, it's going to be like this. I didn't flip it or anything. Like, you just put it in there for 30 minutes and then take it out. So you're gonna see it's pretty tender when you take it out, but it doesn't have to be super, super tender because it's gonna be cooked further. So you're really just looking that it's tender enough to really easily take it off of the skin. So that's the first step to the noodle portion. And our onions are starting to get going here. I don't know how many of you work with an electric stovetop versus a gas one, but I have a gas one at home, and then here it's electric, so it's a little bit, it functions a little differently. It heats differently. Okay, so our onions are starting to get a little soft, so I am going to add all of our ground meat right into the same pan, and I like to just make a nice little hole in the middle so that the meat can have direct contact with the heat source, just to get it going here. Guys, you have a lot of options with your meat. I have a lean ground beef that I'm working with. You can use any ground meat that you want. And again, look at your macros, look at what you are trying to do with each of your meals, and pick the protein that just works best for you. If you're not on the challenge or you're not watching your macros, but you just want to make a healthy meal for your family, I do recommend like a lean ground beef for the flavor, because it really does taste good. I was thinking it would be pretty delicious to make this if you don't eat meat. There's this brand, the Impossible Burger, which I haven't talked to Ellen about it, our nutritionist, so I don't know her take on it, but I have tried. They have like a ground beef, it's not meat, that they sell in the freezer section. That would taste really good if you're trying to do this meatless. But again, Ellen, if you're watching, you can tell us about the nutrition of the Impossible Burger or the Impossible ground beef option. But yeah, ground turkey is also a way that I like to make this. Ground chicken breast. I mean, you guys Jesse was saying earlier, ground bison would be a really tasty one. So yeah, have fun with that. And also, I said 1.5 pounds, but you could probably go up to a little more than 2 pounds if you want to increase the protein. Just need to make sure that your casserole pan is big enough for it. Okay, so we're just really trying to break the big pieces of the meat down because this is turning into our sauce. And so we don't want big chunks of meat. We want it to be pretty consistent. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, is just spreading it out and breaking up those big chunks of the ground beef. It already smells really good in here. The onions and the garlic, and now the ground beef smell. Okay, so mixing those onions in and trying to break the meat apart. And guys, I have it on kind of medium-high heat right now. All right. So next step for our sauce is we are going to add some salt. So I have a full teaspoon of sea salt. This is like a pink Himalayan sea salt, which is my favorite kind. It's already measured out. So that was a full teaspoon. And then you guys know how much I like working with fresh herbs. There's really such a difference in flavor when you use a fresh herb versus a dried herb. Now, I also understand that, fresh herbs are not always readily available. It's super convenient if you can have like a little herb garden, or if you can get the little, living herbs and keep it on your counter, because then you just have it, and that's really convenient. So if you have access to fresh herbs, this is oregano. So I really like oregano as a part of this like Italian flavors. So I'm adding about 1.5 tablespoons of fresh oregano directly into the pan. It's really gonna get the flavor infused in the meat and in the onions. It smells really good. Another really good one is basil. So if you have fresh basil, like mince that up and throw it in. It's really gonna enhance the flavor. Because guys, if we make something healthy, it has to taste good. Like we're putting out all this effort and we know why we're doing it, but if it tastes good, then you'll do it again and again, and your family will eat it. And I have to tell you, this recipe passed the kid test in my house. So I made it on Monday night and I served it to my teenagers and they ate all of it. So that's when I know, I'm like, okay, this one doesn't taste like it's healthy. This one you can get by with serving the whole family. And let me know, try this recipe, serve it to your family, and let me know, like, did they notice it was healthy, or were they just like, hey, this tastes great? So part of the making it taste great is doing little things like adding fresh herbs in. Okay, so we're mixing in that 1 teaspoon of sea salt and a couple tablespoons of fresh oregano. And we're just trying to mix it all in. Okay, so if you were making this at home, your spaghetti squash would already be in the oven for that 30 minutes. And guys, if you're in a super time crunch, there are quicker ways to cook spaghetti squash. I know there are some methods for using a microwave. I don't typically use the microwave, but you can look them up online if you need to speed it along. Because I also understand that sometimes, making a family dinner, you don't have a lot of time. So roasting the spaghetti squash in the oven, it takes a little bit longer. The cool thing is it's roasting while you're making the sauce. I kind of feel like it doesn't add extra time as long as you do it in order, stick it in the oven, and now you're working on the sauce while it's cooking. Okay guys, so we have just a little bit of pink left in the meat here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna add our spaghetti squash right into the sauce. So this portion of our squash is going to be part of the sauce to just make it a little heartier. Okay guys, so this is cooked, it's very tender, but you still need to remove the skin. So you can either pull it off or use a knife, but you need to take the sort of tough skin off and just put this tender stuff right into the pan. And you might want to cut it up a little bit because the goal is to mix it all in. So that's another reason why doing the half moons is good, because then your strands are a little bit smaller and it's easier to mix them in. Be careful when these come out of the oven though, because these come out so piping hot that you don't want to grab it and start trying to like get these noodles out right away. You got to be a little careful. These are fully cooled off, which is why I'm able to just grab them off the pan. So guys, this week on the page, the topic is habits and routine. Since we're in week 1 of the challenge, this is the starting line. And this is the week where you set that routine. And I'm sure you've been talking with your coach at your local Fit Body Bootcamp about, what does a week look like for you? How many workouts are you going to get? What is your nutrition each day? And really, in order to keep that up, you have to set it as part of your routine until it becomes a habit. So guys, I'm curious to hear from you in this first week of the challenge. What are you focusing on as far as what are you working into your routine and what habits are you looking to develop? I know for myself, one of my greatest habits, I think, is to wake up and work out. So it's to always wake up with enough time to get myself to boot camp, to get my workout in before my day starts. So if you just wake up and work out, it's like one of the best habits to make sure that you always get your exercise in. And then I'd say my other habit-based routine, part of my routine that's a habit is drinking Everyday Fit all day. Like ever since I started drinking Everyday Fit, I'm so hydrated. Like it's awesome. I've never been this hydrated, and I always have my big water bottle. So that is another just habit that I've picked up that has helped me with my results. But yeah, guys, if you've thought about this and if you have a habit that you're working in and just your routine overall, just to help you with this challenge, but like we know, it's not just about the 8 weeks, it's about the infinite game. So you're doing it now so that you can make it part of your routine and then you can keep on doing it. Okay, so we have all of our spaghetti squash in here and we're mixing it in to our onions, our ground beef, and our garlic here. Okay, so that's gonna break apart a little bit more as we add the marinara sauce. Okay, so let's talk about sauce. Guys, this is where some sugars, like extra sugars, can really creep into your healthy recipe. So I have the organic sauce. It says no sugar added. And you might be thinking like, why would there be sugar in a tomato sauce? Go to the store, flip it over, look at the ingredients. More often than you'd really think, they add sugars. So we don't want to add sugar to this meal. It doesn't need sugar, and we don't need sugar in our bodies. So, okay. So you're gonna put a whole jar, and it's 1 pound or 25.5 ounces. And you're gonna put it right on into your saucepan. And we're gonna mix this in. But yeah, guys, really read the labels. That's another really cool habit that can help you in your fitness journey is reading labels. Because guys, when you make it a habit to turn everything over, if you're gonna buy it, turn it over and know what's in it. Even when you're not doing a plan where you are counting your macros and you're really paying attention, but just, infinite game of fitness, just part of your normal life, read the labels. If sugar is listed in there way up towards the top of the ingredients, like that's not the healthiest one that you could pick out. There's always going to be one that's healthier and that is going to serve your results.
Okay, so we have a couple people have chimed in on their comments, but one in particular, Melissa, she said she's working on replacing her coffee with more water.
Okay.
Drinking less coffee and drinking more water.
Melissa, that's awesome because you know what? I love coffee. This is day 13 for me of 21 days with no caffeine. So I'm really missing my coffee right now. But so we drink coffee, especially if you drink coffee right in the morning, what you're actually doing is dehydrating yourself because coffee dehydrates. So that's awesome. You're replacing that coffee with water, you're hydrating your body, and you're really gonna be helping your results. And you could throw some Everyday Fit into that water too, and it'll taste even better. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Melissa. Okay, so we got our sauce really good here. So now we need to work on our zucchini noodles. So this is where we have to do a little bit of work. This is what we're going for. This is the end result of turning zucchini into lasagna noodles. It is possible. It's pretty cool. Okay, so we're gonna let this just simmer while we continue to finish making our noodles. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I did here. So we have a zucchini. We're gonna cut off both ends. You can do this a couple different ways. If you have a slicer like this, this is the easiest way to make sure that you have really consistent slices. Because guys, this is all, it's obviously cooking at the same time. And when you cut into your lasagna, you don't wanna have like one bigger piece of zucchini that's like kind of crispy and then like thinner pieces that are soggy. We want them all to be really consistent and just tender when the dish is done. Okay, so this thing is really fun. You have to be careful with these too because you can slice your finger, which I have done before. Haven't done it in a few years, but it is easy to do that. Okay, so if you have one of these, you're gonna set it on the second thinnest slice. So we don't want it to be the thinnest, but we want our pieces to be about 1/8 of an inch thick so that we're able to throw them in the oven first to kind of get them tender. It's tricky because you want them to be thick enough to hold together like a true layer. If you guys have seen this, like you want it to be a true layer like a noodle would be. So you need it thick enough, but then you don't want it to still be crispy at the end. You don't want it to be so thin that it doesn't hold the layer. So that's why I do think that using one of these mandolin slicers is a good idea. So you're basically just running it over the blade. And you just need to be careful when the pieces get pretty, when you get down, then, you know, pull your fingers away or use the little attachment that comes with it would probably be smarter, but I lost mine. Okay, so this is what the pieces look like. They're about 1/8 of an inch thick, and you would put them on another parchment paper lined baking sheet. And this time, we're gonna add a little more flavor. So I like to do a little bit of olive oil. Again, just like the squash, if you're really watching those fats, no problem. You don't need to add any. You could, it's sticky enough. You honestly wouldn't have to add anything. And I think that the dried basil would still probably stick. But I do like to do a little bit of olive oil. And then I will sprinkle dried basil over all of them. So you're gonna do all 4 of the zucchinis. So it's typically gonna take 2 sheets like this. And then you're also going to do pepper and salt on all of them. Your oven is already set at 400, so you're just gonna stick it in for 10 minutes. So this is what it looks like when it comes out. It's definitely, I wouldn't call this fully tender. Like it's still got a little bit of crispness to it, and it's gonna hold up and to be able, it's gonna be strong enough to be the noodles in our zucchini, or in our lasagna. Okay, so now the only thing that's left is to put it all together. This really is a pretty simple dish when you get into it. Okay, so we're gonna move our sauce back and we are gonna start assembling our lasagna. At this point, once you pull the zucchini out of the oven, you can reduce the temperature to 375. Okay, I'm gonna turn that off and I'm gonna start assembling the lasagna in this pan here. So I have kind of a smaller pan. This, if you do the entire batch, it is gonna make a large one like this. So I'm just gonna do a little mini version to show you how to do the layers, but keep in mind, you are gonna need a full-size casserole dish to make this, and make sure that it is pretty deep. Because once you are making the layers and you're pouring on the egg whites, you don't wanna get all the way to the top and be like, it's not deep enough, you're overflowing. So get a nice deep dish when you make this. Okay, so the first thing we do is we're just gonna do a full layer on the bottom with zucchini. And you're just gonna line them up. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it is fun to make it pretty. So I like to try to make it nice and pretty. But we just need to make sure that we save enough to cover the top. So when you're looking for your zucchini, it's helpful to get the bigger ones. Like, you know, buy organic if you can, but look for the thicker ones because then you're gonna have, you can see some of my noodles are nice and wide, and then some of my noodles are like little tiny guys. So when you're looking for those zucchini, the thicker and the wider zucchini that you find, the nicer noodles you're gonna have. And you want them to be kind of consistent. Okay, so we're just covering the entire bottom with our zucchini noodles. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put half of our sauce. Okay, so we have our delicious sauce here with our ground meat and our spaghetti squash and the onion. And we have fresh oregano in here. And then we have our no sugar added marinara sauce and a teaspoon of salt. You know, as you're making this, it is worth at this stage to taste your sauce to see if you want to add any more salt or not. Depending on the sauce that you get, you know, some of them need a little bit more flavor. But again, you know, depending on your goals, if you have to watch your sodium, then, you know, take that into account. But at this point, I typically do add a little bit more sea salt just because it really helps with flavor. You know, salt increases the flavor. So we're gonna add a little bit more on there. Okay, so this is the cool part. I think it's so cool how egg whites can be perceived as cheese in this lasagna. It's crazy. I took a chance and it worked out, guys. So we know that egg whites are a great source of protein. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm pouring half of the egg whites out just on top of the sauce, evenly over the top. And then I'm saving the other half to go on the very top. Okay, so now we are doing our second layer. So now we're gonna use all of the zucchini noodles that we have left. And I like to make it extra pretty on the top. So I'm doing kind of like, I don't know, makes me think of basket weaving, even though I've never done basket weaving before. But I'm just overlapping them so that there's not any space that's not covered with the zucchini noodle. Doing a little crisscross here.
So Diana, while you're assembling that second layer,
Yes.
We have a comment from Gina, a different Gina, not the one that was our prize winner, but she said...
Is it Chino Hills, Gina?
It is Gina Rinaldi.
Okay.
So she said one of the biggest challenges for her right now is retraining herself to allow to get all three carbs, or all three macros, including the carbs. She's so used to cutting all of the carbs out that adding those carbs back in is like been a challenge for her.
Gina, I don't think that's a problem that most people have because most of us, carbs taste so good. But yeah, you definitely do need carbs. And you know, you guys that are in the challenge, like you have your nutrition plan, so you know the carbs that you need at each meal and you know the good sources of carbs. So I love sweet potato. I mean, even just roast some sweet potato and then add however much you need to like whatever meal you have. It just tastes so good and it's kind of sweet and creamy. Okay guys, so we have successfully layered the top with the last of our zucchini noodles. And now we are gonna add the rest of our sauce, or as much as we fit, because this is kind of a small pan. It is deep, but it is a little bit small. So it might not fit all of our sauce. But guess what? If you have leftover sauce, this stuff is great. Keep it in the fridge, serve it over some sweet potato, roast up some sweet potato and put like a big scoop of the sauce on there. Ooh, maybe some fresh arugula. Sounds very good. Okay, all right, might be able to fit it all in here. So once we have this fully assembled, we're gonna stick it in the oven at 375 and it's gonna cook for 40 minutes. All people who are used to making traditional lasagna, the ones that have like the big thick noodles and that has the cheese, we are all trained to cover lasagna when it bakes. And we do that so that lasagna won't dry out. Guys, our noodles are vegetables and vegetables are full of water. So we actually have the opposite issue with this recipe. We have the issue of too much liquid. So do not cover this lasagna when it cooks. You want it open. You want as much of that extra liquid to be absorbed or evaporated as possible because, you know, we want it to be as much like a traditional piece of lasagna as we can. But, you know, go into it knowing that you are essentially putting vegetables and meat and eggs together in the form of lasagna. And so it's not going to have the exact same consistency. There's going to be a little bit more liquid. One thing that we are going to do at the end of the cook time, so it's in there for 40 minutes at 375, and then we're going to turn the broil on. Okay, let's see, we added the sauce here, and now we're just adding the rest of the egg whites on top. So you're going to turn the broil on, and you're going to watch it, but I left it under the broil for about 10 minutes. And so that's going to do a couple of things. Woo, way up to the top. You see what I mean about needing a deep dish there. So the broil is going to do a couple of things. It's going to brown the top. It's going to really solidify those egg whites at the top so it looks and feels like cheese. And then it's going to help with some of that extra liquid to evaporate. Because as it's cooking, you're going to see after the 40 minutes, there's going to be some liquid at the top. So turn on the broil, watch it, don't let it burn, but let it get golden, let it really start to look and feel like a traditional lasagna. But then when you cut into it, there is gonna be extra moisture. Spaghetti squash and zucchini both have a ton of liquid in them. So it's helping us stay hydrated. It's all good. There's lots of fiber in all of this stuff as well. Okay, so I would then sprinkle, this is dried basil or dried oregano. Sprinkle it over the top. Just makes it taste better and look really pretty once it's all cooked and done. And guys, that is it. That is how you take these super healthy ingredients and turn it into a lasagna masterpiece. Guys, I hope you're excited to try this recipe this week. Please let me know what you think of it, how you like it. Specifically, did your kids eat it? And did they say like, oh, this is healthy? Or were they just like, oh, that was a great lasagna? So I'm excited to hear about that. Guys, throughout the week, please use the hashtag #IamFitBody, because I'm gonna be giving away more cool stuff next week. And before we go, those of you who did not win the FitBody bundle, but you are interested, you're like, okay, she's talking about all these cool supplements, where do I go? So it's fbbcapproved.com. There is a coupon code back here. So it is FIT2020. I cannot remember exactly what it gets you, but it gets you at least 20% off. I think it's 20% off. And the bundle is already discounted. So guys, if you're interested, fbbcapproved.com. Yes, this is what we just made, guys. This is the amazing lasagna. But guys, again, the supplements that I'm talking about, that I'm obsessed with, and I'm sure you're hearing about at your FitBody location, they're all found on fbbcapproved.com. Use this coupon, FIT2020. You're gonna get 20% off. Guys, I'm gonna be back next week with another recipe to just support your results through this challenge. I will see you then, guys. Thanks so much for watching.